Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Now today, as promised, I'm going to try on this new foundation. It's not new, it's not just come out, but my new foundation. It was actually recommended by Caroline Hirons, and she was offering 20% off her wish list on Space NK. So I wanted to try it. It's by Chantecaille and it's called Future Skin Oil-free Gel Foundation. Now, the reason I wanted to try this, I told you a little bit in my live yesterday, is because I'm very interested in trying an oil-free foundation, and particularly this one. Now, normally people go for oil-free foundations when they've got oily skin, so that they don't get that kind of oil, kind of the makeup coming off. But this seems to have the best of both worlds, because an oil-free foundation does have its advantages, and the advantage is that the lack of oil means that it's likely to last longer on the skin. When you've got any oil, when it comes in contact with the heat of your skin, it's going to start melting, which means that it's not likely to last as long. So there's a real advantage to getting an oil-free formula. However, if you've got dry skin, you tend to steer clear of oil-free. But this has got quite a few hydrating ingredients in it, such as camellia sensitive leaf extract, and it's also got things like aloe, and I'm sure that it's got hyaluronic acid as well. I'm just having a quick look to see if I can see hyaluronic acid. But it's got some ingredients that are supposed to be good, very good skincare. Aloe, rosemary, camellia and arnica to help moisturize and soothe the appearance of skin. So good skincare, but oil-free, which I just was intrigued to try. Now, I got the shade Sand. I blind bought this online. It's okay, the shade. It's actually the closest match I think was going to be, although it comes out a little bit too yellow. And as I said yesterday, I can correct that by using a cooler powder and a cooler toned powder. So I use the Charlotte Tilbury shade 1 powder. So let's get going. I'm going to apply this and let's see how it applies. Okay, now the other day I did try a bit of this on just to see whether the match was okay. But I just put it on with my fingers. So today I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury flat foundation brush to see how this applies. It comes in a pot like this, and I'm looking quite pale today, so it is going to look a little bit on the yellowy side. But as I said, as soon as I put my powder over the top, it should actually correct it. Can you see what I mean about it being a bit yellow? It's very difficult to pick your shade online because it doesn't describe what they are. It just gives you shade names. Okay, so this is a very different feel to most foundations because it's a gel, and so it's going to dry down very quickly and feel just like you're wearing nothing on your skin, but it's not going to transfer onto masks. Now I'm just going to see how this layers. It's, I would say, a medium coverage, but I'm just going to see what happens if I just stipple some over the cheek area. Yeah, it's quite buildable. And it does feel very cooling and soothing, being a gel formula. I'd say you got about 40 seconds playtime with this before it dries down. Okay, now as you can see, I don't know if you can tell from this light, I'm looking a little bit, not too bad, but a little bit on the orange side. So I will set this in a minute. It doesn't really need a lot of setting. That's the advantage. I'm only going to set it to adjust the colour. But actually, you don't really need to set this. If you've got a good shade, you don't need to set it because it dries down almost completely. Okay, I'm now just going to put some concealer on, and then we'll get some powder on to correct the colour. And I will do some close-ups for you. Okay, so I just applied some of the Tom Ford Emotionproof concealer in shade 7 Tawny, which is quite a bit lighter than the foundation. So I also put some down the centre of my face so that it didn't look too much of a contrast. And now I'm just going to apply Charlotte's shade 1 powder foundation, powder over the top. And this will take the orange out of it because it is a cool tone, which is why, as I said yesterday, I'm using fair because it's a pink undertone and will take the yellow out of your foundation. You see, that's done it perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of a close-up here so that you can see. This is a foundation for you if you like a reasonably good coverage on your face, but you do not like to feel like you've got makeup on, because it doesn't feel like I've got any makeup on, and it's going to be very transfer resistant. And what I'm interested to do is to actually see how long it lasts. I suspect that this will last a long time without budging because it's oil and it's not oil, and it's just a gel and it settles straight into the skin. So I'll be interested how this wears, how it's going to look. Now, of course, if you're used to all these glowy foundations, it's not super glowy because it's a gel formula and it's dried down. This would be great if you've got oily skin, but don't discount it if you've got dry skin because of the skincare ingredients. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of a wear test and I'll be back later to tell you how I get on. And in the meantime, I'm going to film another video and do some eye makeup. All right, see you later. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, and I'm back to do my update. Now, I didn't get round to putting much more makeup on. I just put a little bit of bronzer and did my brows, and then I went to bed because I had a foot health appointment this morning and my foot's been really bad, and they debrided it and it bled really badly. So I've been in rather a lot of pain and lying down. So I went to bed in this foundation and went to sleep. And my eyes have been a bit watery. But this foundation has lasted all day. It is now 7 hours since I applied this foundation. And it is still on. And what I've noticed about this is that it's held the bronzer on really well. Normally, my bronzer would have rubbed off. I wouldn't notice my bronzer anymore, but actually it's held it on really well. Right, the things that I really love about this foundation. First of all, let's just go through the specifics. So you get 30 mils and it's normally £72. Although I did get this on offer from Space NK because Caroline Hirons was offering 20% off on her wish list. So keep an eye out for offers. But it is normally £72 for 30 mils. It comes in a jar. I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. It comes in 15 shades. Now, I said earlier, I wish they'd describe what the shades were, which actually they do on the Chantecaille website. Okay, but I still think the shades are really quite tricky to work out which one you are. Some of them look very similar in colour but are described very differently. Like there is a shade for medium skin tone that's very close looking on the screen, the swatch, to the one that I got. It's for tanned undertones. So it's one of those that I think you probably best going in store or having a virtual consultation to get matched. I don't think this is the best match for me, although, as I said, I can solve it with powder. Now, the thing that stands out for me about this foundation is that you really do not feel like you have got anything whatsoever on your skin. It just sinks in immediately and it feels very cooling. And you do not feel like you've got anything. And there is absolutely no transfer whatsoever. It just sinks and disappears. Sorry about my eyes watering, by the way. That's sort of all part of my pain. And it's holding up to my eyes watering. My concealer a little less. But that's normally pretty good. But they have been watering a lot. Now, I was lying in bed. None of it came off on the pillow. And this is a really good one, I think, to wear if you're wearing a mask all day, because it will not come off on your mask. I can almost guarantee it. So I think that's really good. If you are somebody that does not like to feel makeup on your skin, this foundation is one that you're going to love. The advantage also of it sinking straight into the skin and drying down completely is it does not settle into lines in any way. It's actually really good. I'm going to try using it as a concealer. Now, what they say on their website is that you can add facial oil to it if you want more of a glide to the skin. I personally think then why would you be buying this foundation? Because this foundation is unique in that it's oil-free. But I may just try and apply it with some oil to see what it's like when you add oil, just out of curiosity. And I might do a separate video on that. Things I don't like about the foundation. I think the choice of shades is a little bit bizarre. Have a look and see what you think. They're very difficult to kind of navigate if you're trying to choose a shade online. I don't like the fact that it's in a jar, which is exposed to the air. It's got some really good skincare loving ingredients in it. So why do you put it in a jar and not in something that is airtight? I think that's a bit of a shame, and I think Chantecaille should look at that. However, I do think that this is very good. And certainly if you have very oily skin and you find that your foundation melts, or maybe you live in a hot climate, you're going to love this. Sensorially, you're going to love this if you don't like feeling makeup on your face, because it feels like I don't have any makeup whatsoever on my face and none of it comes off. And I think you can see it's lasted very well. I'm going to put a picture of when I first applied it and a picture of now. And I think you'll see it still looks exactly the same, apart from under my eyes. And I am blown away by the fact that it holds your powder really well. So it's not just long lasting in itself, but the powder products that you put on top last really well. Now, when I put face powder on around these areas, I have noticed that after 6 hours, my natural oils are starting to come through a little bit. When I say oils, I'm not really an oily person, but you can see a little bit of shine, but nothing that a bit of powdering would not touch up. The difference is that I've got a bit of shine, but it's not melting. That's the difference. Normally with a kind of normal foundation, when you get the shine and you feel it, it actually feels slidey to touch. This feels dry, completely bone dry. So it's not actually melting. So if you like a foundation that is not going to melt and is going to stay put all day and grabs your powder bronzer and keeps it there, then you're going to love this foundation. I hope that's been helpful, and I will come back. I'd planned to do another video putting on my Zara makeup today, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. So thank you all for joining me. Any questions, please put them below. Take care. Love you all. Mwah.